Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So I thought interest rates would be hitting this 5%, the magic number, whole number, to push us through it a little bit and help push these markets lower. So they're a little extended. Notice how the moving averages are getting a little further apart from each other. You see this if it's in the cards today. They just get up above that 5% a little bit, and markets to move lower as they appear that they are. They are moving lower and don't appear that, meaning that they'll continue and pick up some steam. And the 5-year is down a little bit, so that's not happening. Markets are down. Looked at the 10, it's hanging there, and just TLT, TVT. Yeah. T pushing up. That's yesterday. All right, so that's one thing we'll be keeping an eye on. And the dollar is just going sideways. It's up a little bit, but they haven't continued. We'll see if that happens today. Either way, markets are down, and as you can see here, and there is nothing to stop it from going down. And it's just kind of hanging there waiting for who's going to start selling first. It came down a little hard. And so while ideally it would just continue to drop down there toward the 200, and it's more likely that it would break through it since it tested it the first time. And we'll see if that's in the cards today. In any event, that little high that formed overnight, if it gets above that, it gets into yesterday's bar that fell sharply, would go lower. And have a green one down there, but let's deal with this pivot first. Of course, that's the one that's directly to the left. Somewhere down there around, it comes down 42.50-ish or whatever, give or take. It's got some pivots there to break. So far, it's just hanging here, waiting for any news. Any news coming at 8? Well, it went past 8:30. Let's see something at 10 o'clock. Nope. Some Fed Harker and Meister talking. One's talking now. One's at 12:15. Something about oil at 1 o'clock. Nothing of significance coming out for economic reports. Ed Bostic says he doesn't see rate cut until next year. Some of these guys just like to talk. I mean, we've heard that how many times? He needed to throw that out there today. Down a little bit. Spiders. A little gap below yesterday's low. And this what we call minor support. I don't see that as having much of an effect. I wouldn't think so. Now that it's headed its way down, it should just keep coming down there. Right, so it's here. SPX. So that bottom number, if things are going down today, like to come down there today, which seems that would be so far. This marked right here, that's like 60 points. So it would have to go like 80 points, which means the Dow would have to be down, give or take 800, 1,000 points today. And is there juice there? Yeah, there's enough juice down there to do it. But if the market drops, you'll if the market drops fast in the morning, you'll be able to go below that. Yeah, let me look again. 81, 41.95. It's $1 by $1.10. So that's more than what we usually look for. It was 41.90 could be done. 75 by 85. So that's initial, but down below, it can get down below it a little bit. It's just a huge move. It would be a huge move. And, what's going to get it all the way back up here today? I don't think anything. You hear what's going on in the news? This pattern of attempting to move back up for over a week, and grudgingly the whipsaws that were going on in intraday, and now, yesterday's, move, and there's nothing here. It should go down. The transports, they broke lower yesterday. There's that pivot there, and day before yesterday was a wide range bar. Yesterday was a little bit narrower, but a wide range bar. And that's not even a pivot, but on intraday, there'll be some support there. But anyway, coming down here, the weekly chart, it's still the end of the day, but we see these topping tail bars on the weekly time frame. It says they're going to continue down, and this one took out the high and closing near the low. That's bearish. That's got to go down. I think down there. I don't know. It's an area. All this congestion down there. So falling down into there, set some alerts. The Russell, that's within striking distance of, these pivot lows down here from last year. And you can see where they're at right now. Just 43.30, no juice up there. Yeah, since it moved down, you would have to move it down. Yeah, 43.25. But down below here, that'd be a monster move. And let's just see. Expiring today. Big open interest, 4,200, relatively big. There's volume there. 4,250. I think it's going through 4,250 once it gets going. So there's a pretty good open interest at 4,200. So it's down below here. So having your strike down below where there's a large open interest, and the fact that it would have to travel that far to get there, it's close to a no-brainer. Okay. The topping pattern, it's slowly moving down. Topping tail on the weekly chart, you can see. Everything looks lined up to go down. Let's look at spiders again on the weekly chart. Look, a little bit of a range expansion red bar. I mean, with a bar like that, two topping tails, I think it should go through that low. Looked at TVT, we looked at interest rates. So 33, let's say 32 for. It's just too much. I don't think that's going to have any kind that big move to get all the way down there in one day. Bitcoin's up. Just such a mess. I can't even imagine trying to do anything with it. Such a mess. But it's just in a trading range. So next year, we'll see what it does. And this is bonds. So versus interest rates. And the way this is going down now, and if it does continue to move lower today, where's it going to stop? But I think this is going to be, one of the trades for next year. Bonds have gotten killed so bad, and it's coming down into this area here that I think buying bonds, when we're talking bonds, we've been looking at interest rates going up. That would suggest that, this coming down like it did. I don't know that it's going to stop here, but we'll be seeing to be buying this next year, that this should have a pretty good retracement. Yeah. If I get any more data, putting it on quarter. Here we go, quarterly. No more data there. I guess that's when it started trading. So maybe it'll make like new lows, but we'll look at continuous contractor bonds when the time comes. And crude oil, gold's up a little bit. Let's see, it's taking out those pivots, which, just the matter of fact that it went all the way up there and taking out those pivots suggests it's ready to stall. That's in a sells area. And interesting, gasoline fell that far and it's bouncing back up. And crude oil, it had some moving up today, and that's moving up. So the most bearish thing we could see is this continuing to move up, with the 10-year moving up and the dollar moving up. And I think equities would have to be plummeting down toward that support. We'll see how that unfolds. But that's what that's what we have been looking for. And it's been a little bit of a wild ride this week. It's been really whippy and erratic. I did that little video that I put into the Telegram channel yesterday. And it's like, well, what's over here? We can look at this 5-minute. Like the day before looked kind of wild, like this one, where it whipped up and down, and then this whipped up and down and up, and before it went, it got even wilder while the Fed chair was speaking before it eventually went down again. So uncertainty, little schizo price action. And now let's see, as it gets into the void, whether it can make some decisive move without a lot of whips. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy Friday. So Greg gave you some levels there. I love Fridays, obviously, because, not only it's Friday, but we also have many stock zero DTEs instead of just the ETFs and SPX. So I will be looking for those as always. Earnings trades are great ones, our usual suspects. Spiders here. So yeah, we're rarely do we get exact what we want, but I as always at the end into the green room we talk about our bias, and I said this was a bull rectangle in danger based on Wednesday's closing price. Once we traded under Wednesday's low, I had a full out bearish bias, which we did yesterday. And I said, ideally, we will just have an ugly day today, take out these prior lows, get a 1 to 2 day bounce on Monday, Tuesday, and then get our continuation lower, hopefully much lower. I personally would like it 410 to 415. Lower the better. 410 is perfect. So that is just a desired scenario. Let's go to earnings here. Yeah, when Greg and I were in a meeting last night, I can tell what's going on just by looking at the ticker. And so I'm watching these solar stocks on the ticker getting creamed. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I didn't even care. I didn't research it, but the news today was saying because slowdown in Europe. So there's the sector. That's nasty. Said G came out with a profit warning. We dodged a bullet on this. This was going to be a put spread over the high of the green bar, never triggered as an anticipatory bottoming pattern, climb on the weekly. But we've been doing MT Live for over 5 years now, and the only problem with this as a reliable bottoming pattern is there was no potent reversal, as we call it. One green bar which is why we didn't give it directionally. We just gave it as a put spread, but it didn't trigger. So anyway, these things are getting killed. I mean, 114 and it's opening here at 80. I mean, whatever percent that is. So I have that in the bottom right here. And as a contrarian, I'm surely not looking to short it unless you get a day trade set up. But Fizzler here down, bouncing a little bit. Array, ENPH getting killed, down to $100. So we'll keep an eye on that sector, and then Mr. here with the Bitcoin, threatening 30,000 again. I have a handful, half a dozen stocks I keep an eye on in the Bitcoin space, and Mr. is one of them. This is this is a beautiful bottoming pattern. Came down here, went up, retest, green bar, 1, 2, 3, closing breakout, 20 and 50 starting to roll flat, and now I have a gap breakout. So I gave that as a put spread idea to sell the 320, 310s for next week. Let's go up to earnings now, see what we got. If anything to do today, whether day trade, swing trade, credit spread, CSX gapping down. It looks lower, but I'm always wanting to delete things here just to narrow my focus. Night 5250. Now this is a pro gap. Gapping over these two ugly red bars. It's a shock pattern. But a pro gap is not the same thing as a tradable event. So look where it's gapping here. How are you going to trade this? Where's your entry? Where's your stop? Where's your target? So, I don't know what to do with it, but I'll leave it on the list. Robert, I don't know. Well, you would be fading a pro gap, which is fine if you get the setup on the time frame you're trading. I'm just saying right now, I don't know. All right, look at weekly, monthly. Well, weekly is a Climo, and monthly is a nasty breakdown, but on horizontal support. And we know what the transports have been doing. Yeah, ISRG. I saw last night this thing was down $25. So it's bouncing here a little bit. This could be a candidate for a 0 DTE put spread over 30-minute high. Wall. It's gapping right to the middle of yesterday's range. No interest. Deleting you. ASB. Same. Ozark. I see one print, 3650, gap in middle of the range, no interest. We got a lot of these banks coming out. Earnings season starts with banks. Look at XLF, continues weak. Regional banks, worse. GBCI, just a mess. I'd rather just go to the beach instead of trade that. TFIN, I can't tell where it's gapping, but that is ugly power down. But I don't see a gap right now. I'll come back to you. American Express was up in the morning, I thought. Well, yes, it was up before earnings, actually. Because I saw it up and I assumed earnings were out. And then I heard CNBC say, oh, no, earnings are coming out here in 5 minutes or so. So that, some people were thinking about selling 145 puts yesterday. That I don't know if they did, but that's an ugly gap from a sell setup. Slob gapping down 58. There's just things are messy. It's going to be a challenge here to find tier 1 setups for anything. Wow, look at this thing getting, wow, that's a big gap. $2 on a $16.50 stock. I'm just curious fundamentally what they said, because RF, I would call it a leading regional bank. I'm no fundamentalist, but I'd say they're top 20, maybe. So that this could be an indication of the cockroach theory, that if this thing's getting pummeled, then we know the sector's in pain, but this could be a barometer of how much more pain. Wow, that's ugly. High band gapping down, looks lower, 30-minute low, maybe a short. Yeah, thanks for that, Alex. I'm more interested in their comments though, about the economy, about the write-offs, about the interest rates. I want to hear their comments to give us some beef, some meat of the sector. I don't care, I don't care, Lawrence, if they blew out earnings by 9 cents to the upside. You see what I'm saying? I don't care about the earnings. I care about the stock reaction and what they said. All right, IPG, so it looks lower, all time frames, just a matter of getting on board. ALV, there's what we call a bear trap, gapping not over yesterday's high, but pretty darn close. But nevertheless, it's deep into this thing. That's a shock bar. So I just got my laptop today. I'll be back at home this afternoon. So if some of you in the green room can help me watch some of these things, this is a candidate for a day trade long, not swing, because I don't like the way it came down, but also 0 DTE put spread on that would be nice if there's any juice. CMA 40 and change, that looks lower. EEFT. Nice. Wow, Alex, look at his print at 84. So with the help of Alex telling me that this is a real company, I sold the $70 puts on this that expired today. And Alex, why did you tell me not to give it to subscribers? They would have been very happy with this gap up. But potential bottom. Well, you say too close is 10% away. This thing's down from 120. You think it's going to gap down another 10%? Of course it can. You'll never hear me saying something can't happen. But, we base our decisions off the charts, slowing momentum, daily, Climo weekly. So I'm in that one. It expires today, so I'm just going to let it expire at full profit. I don't even feel like paying a penny. SFT, I don't see any gaps, but I set an alarm at $57. One thing that I learned from Craig over the dozen or so years, which we both, I think, do an awesome job relaying in the green room on a constant basis, is making you think not what the chart immediately suggests this second, but what would the chart look like if it did XYZ? So I got two inside bars from an igniting bar with a price void, Climo on the weekly. Look at this breakdown on the 15. So if it were able to get up here past 57, which it is right now, see that? Look at that, gapping right over it. Gapping over it. Well, it's a mess, but you say the point I'm getting at. Set alarms on patterns that might interest you. APP, I had a low alarm. You get the point. Set alarms where a pattern might interest you. Sam, this was your list. APP, my alarm just went off. This would be an adequate 30-minute short. All right. Oh, perfect timing. I'm done with all the earnings. All right, so this one is nothing. And these are some leftover ones. ADI is a good new trade, 30-minute low. If this can't, or maybe even 10-minute low, that's a wide range engulfing. That looks great as a new trade. IQV, we're in already. Low alarm looks great. Let me set new alarms. Shoot, overstock low alarm. We're in that. All right, new alarms, IQV. I'll do it 189. And 185. That's all set. We're short RCL, still looks great. I already have my alarms. Let me set a new alarm, 8340. I already got it, 83. 8130. All right, RCL is good. Apple. Yeah. I personally, Alex, was that the low of the day? No, see, I personally use pre-market chart if it's liquid. So I like it short under this level here, under this pre-market support. But yeah, daily has a void. Yeah, we mentioned those tails yesterday. All right, this said, geez, man, that's just taken out to the woodshed. All right. Roblex, I have an up alarm. In terms of retracement, it really needs to hold about right here. And then Monday, we can trade over yesterday's high. NU, I saw this beautiful closing breakout yesterday, but it needs to go sideways. APP, that's Sam I am. See, we might get a short-term exhaustion gap here on solar, particularly for 0 DTE put spreads. We just got to find a good pattern. There's not too many, only like half